Hello dear children, how are you all? Hope you all are fine and doing well. My name is Naresh, welcome to our channel Physics Plaza. Children, at today's session we are going to revise all formulas and all units from all the chapters. In one video we are going to discuss all formulas. It's a very useful. First we will see fourth chapter. The children, in this chapter mainly we need to talk about three factors. That is, one is force, another one is moment of force, next one is couple. So first let us see the children. But the specialty of these three quantities are that force and moment of force and couple, these three are vector quantities only. It's the first write down, it's very important. So or else let us write down. First quantity in this chapter is force. Children, according to Newton's second law of motion, we know that F is equal to ma, F is equal to ma, and it is vector quantity, and its SI units are Newton and its CGS units are dynes. CGS units are dynes. But how they are related to each other is very important. 1 Newton is equal to 10 to the power of 5 dynes. Dear children, other than this, there are gravitational units of force also. Now let us see, dear children, what are the gravitational units of force? This is system, kgf we have and gf we have. 1 kgf is equal to, dear children, 9.8 newtons. But when we are doing the numericals, dear children, sometimes what will happen, we will take it as a 10 newtons also. Okay, fine. Next, gram force is equal to 980 dynes. 980 dynes. So this is all about force. Next one is what? Second one is moment of force, dear children. Moment of force. So moment of force tau is equal to force into perpendicular distance from axis of rotation. Children, whenever we are writing, it's very important. This is magnitude of force into perpendicular distance from axis of rotation. For a given moment of force, dear children, F is inversely proportional to R. F is inversely proportional to R. The children, based on this only, we will be having application questions. F is inversely proportional to R. Based on this one, we will be having application questions. Now let us see what are the SI units, dear children. So force is measured in Newton, and distance is measured in a meter. So it is the Newton meter is the SI unit, whereas CGS units are dyne centimeter. But how these two are related also very important. That is, 1 Newton meter is equal to 10 to the power of 7 dyne centimeter. Children, is moment of force scalar or vector? Just now I told you that it is a vector quantity. As like a force, dear children, moment of force already the vector quantity only. But how can we take its direction? By using right hand thumb rule. We can find the direction of moment of force. Clockwise moment of force is taken as a negative, and whereas anti-clockwise moment of force is taken as a positive. Okay, children. Now we will see principle of moments. Children, look at this diagram. So it is what? It is a fulcrum, such a way that at a point A and B, two forces F1 and F2 are acting at a perpendicular distances of R1 and R2 from this fulcrum only. Dear children, this F1 force will try to make this to rotate in a anti-clockwise direction, so that there will be a anti-clockwise moment of force. Whereas F2 will try to rotate it, so that what happens, there will be a clockwise moment of force. But in equilibrium, I repeat once, in equilibrium, dear children, clockwise moments of force are equal to anti-clockwise moments of force. So you can write like this: F1 into R1 is equal to F2 into R2. So this is very important. Based on this only, we will be having numericals. So next, the fourth one which we will be learning is couple. Children, so couple is a vector quantity. Couple can be calculated like this. Couple is equal to force into. But force means which force we should take? Here means force is a matter. But here any force you can take, because both are equal only. So it is force into distance between these two forces. Anything is okay. Now what are its SI units? SI units are Newton meter, whereas CJ's units are dyne centimeter. Children, the units and everything are like same, like for a couple and moment of force are same. Okay children, so these are the important points, important formulas in a force chapter. Children, now we will see important formulas in work per energy. Children, look at here. So here on the body a force F is acting, but dear children, the body is displaced in such a way that there is an angle between theta, that is angle between force and displacement is theta. Then how can we calculate the work done? Children, the work done. First, children, we will be talking about work here. First, we will be talking about actual work. Children, the common formula for work, actually W is equal to F as cos theta. This is how actually we can calculate the work done. But children, here, so work can be calculated in a different case, different situations we can calculate. Dear children, first let us say case 1. If force and displacement both are parallel to each other, that is body is displaced in the direction of applied force, then what happens? If body is displaced in the direction of applied force, then theta is equal to 0. That is force and displacement are parallel. Force and displacement are parallel. Then theta is equal to 0 degrees. So therefore cos 0 degrees is equal to 1. Cos 0 degrees is equal to 1. So if you can substitute in this, you will get W is equal to Fs. Dear children, this is a case actually we will take generally whenever we are solving the numericals based on work. Generally force into displacement will say that. Means in our mind it is there that the body is displaced in the direction of applied force only. And you can notice that here work done is a positive. Here work done is a positive. Next, look at here, second point here. When force and displacement are perpendicular to each other, the best example is that the body which is in circular motion. So at every point, the centripetal force is always perpendicular to the displacement. Then theta is equal to 90 degrees. Then children, cos 90 is equal to how much? Cos 90 degrees is equal to 0. So 0 into something will be 0 only. So here work done will be 0 in this case. Work done will be 0. Now let us the third case. So if force is applied in such a way that body is displaced in opposite direction. The best example, the body is in vertical upwards. So gravity is acting downward direction, but the body is moving vertically upwards. Means both are F and S, both are opposite, anti-parallel. You cannot even anti-parallel also. Then what will be the angle, dear children? Theta is equal to 180. So here cos 180 degrees is equal to -1. If you can substitute -1, you will get W is equal to -Fs. Fs, which means what here? Work done will be negative. Work done will be negative. Okay, children. Now we will see the units of work done. So we will see the SI units of work done. Children, as work is force into displacement, so SI units are Newton meter, and whereas CJ's units are dyne centimeters. But children, this Newton meter only we can call it as a joule. We can call joule will represent with a capital J. Whereas this dyne centimeter we can call it as a erg. But how these two are related is very important. 1 joule is equal to 10 power 7 erg. So it is a very important relation which we use when we are solving the numericals. This is about the work. So now we will be talking about energy. Children, what is energy? So here energy is nothing but what, children? Capacity to do the work. Especially children, in this chapter we will be mainly talking about mechanical energy, potential energy and kinetic energy. Children, we know that mechanical energy is nothing but what, children? Sum of potential energy and kinetic energy. Here again mainly we will be talking about potential energy and we will be talking about kinetic energy. Teacher. So children, potential energy is equal to, we have mgh, mgh. But when mass acceleration due to gravity remains constant, dear children, this only we can write potential energy is proportional to height. So from this only we can write as a P1 by P2 is equal to H1 by H2. Children, this formula which we use to compare the potential energies of two bodies which are placed at a different heights. Now come to this side. Here is a kinetic energy. Children, kinetic energy is equal to, we know it's a half mv square. From this only, children, when mass remains constant, so kinetic energy is proportional to v square. So we can write for two bodies which are moving with a different velocities. If you want to compare that kinetic energies, then we can use this formula, that is v1 square by v2 square. Okay, children, even if it is given that, if its velocity remains constant, then we can write kinetic energy is proportional to mass. So from this we can write Ke1 by Ke2 is equal to m1 by m2. That is what, children, if both bodies are moving with the same velocity, which body will have more kinetic energy? The body with more mass will have more kinetic energy. Okay, children. Now we'll recall what is a linear momentum and how is it related to the kinetic energy is very important. So here P is a linear momentum. It is defined as mass into velocity, that is a P is equal to mv, and we know that kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. The relation between these two is very important. So how these two are related? Kinetic energy is equal to, it is P square by 2m. Children, it's very important, and it also can be written as P is equal to square root of 2m into kinetic energy. 2m into kinetic energy. Children, here we can add one more important point. If linear momentum remained constant, that is, if two bodies with the same momentum are moving, if P remains constant, children, from this we can write kinetic energy is inversely proportional to the mass, which means what? Lighter body will have more kinetic energy, whereas heavier body will have less kinetic energy. Children, don't get confused. When velocity remains constant, kinetic energy is proportional to the mass, whereas when momentum remains constant, kinetic energy is inversely proportional to the mass. So this point you should not. Okay, children, fine. And from this we can add one more thing. What is that? When kinetic energy remains constant, how can we compare the moments, linear moments of the bodies? That is, P is proportional to the square root of mass. So we can write P1 by P2 is equal to square root of m1 by m2. So this formula we use to compare the two bodies, like linear momentum of two bodies, if both are going with if both having same kinetic energy. Now, dear children, come to the units of energy in this. Units. Children, we know that the SI units of energy are joule only, the CGS units of energy is erg only. But other than this, what are the special units which we use for energy, and how that special units are related to the joule are very important. Children, in this, the first important thing is that calorie. So we know that 1 calorie is equal to, children, it is actually 4.186 joules, but approximately we can take it as a 4.2 joules. Another unit of energy is electron volt. 1 electron volt is equal to, children, it is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. Whereas the third one is watt hour. Children, watt hour is equal to 3600 joules. Whereas the fourth one is kilowatt hour. Kilowatt hour is what, children? 3.6 into 10 to the power of 6 joules. So this is all about work and energy. Power. What is power? The rate of doing work. So directly we can write power P is equal to W by T. But dear children, sometimes whatever the work is done is stored in the form of kinetic energy and even stored in the form of potential energy also. In that case, how can we calculate the power? So here if work done is stored in the form of kinetic energy, then power can be written as half mv square by t. If it is stored in the form of potential energy, can be written as it is mgh by t. mgh by t. Okay, chill, fine. And W is equal to, we know that here even F into S. So this can be in the place of W, if we can write F into S, here S by T will become velocity. So we can write power is equal to F into V. So it is also another formula to calculate the power. So then what are the units of power, dear children? So here in SI system, the units are joule per second. This joule per second only we can call it as a watt. Special unit is a WATT. Whereas the CJ's units are erg per second. Then how joule per second is related to the erg per second also is very important. 1 joule per second is equal to 10 to the power of 7 erg per second. So other than this, dear children, of course, watt, when even we can use kilowatt, megawatt, gigawatt also. Other than this, we have horsepower. It's very important. So horsepower is a special unit of power only. It is generally used to measure the power of, what we can say, automobiles, like any vehicles or any engines we can use to calculate their power actually. Children, 1 horsepower is equal to, it's very important, 746 watt, or so one more very important thing, 1 kilowatt is equal to, dear children, 1.32 horsepowers. 1.32 horsepowers. Very important. So they are the important formulas from work per energy. Copy it. So now we will see in a machines chapter what are the important. So mainly here we will be talking about actually mechanical advantage. So here mechanical advantage is equal to load by effort. And the second term which we will be discussing is velocity ratio. Children, it is defined as the effort displacement by load displacement, or even we can define it as a effort velocity by load velocity. And third one we will be talking about efficiency. So efficiency is equal to always work output by work input. If you want to measure in a percentage, so just you do it with 100. Children, but how these three terms are related is very important. Look at here, these three terms are related like this. Efficiency is equal to mechanical advantage by it is velocity ratio. Efficiency is equal to mechanical advantage by velocity ratio. Additionally, here we will be having two types of machines. One is ideal machine. For ideal machine, always mechanical advantage is equal to velocity ratio, so that efficiency is always 1 or 100%. Whereas second case, that is a practical machine or actual machine, anything is okay. For practical machine or actual machine, children, mechanical advantage is less than velocity ratio, so that efficiency is always less than 1. Children, in this we will be discussing even about pulleys also. For single fixed pulley, children, for single fixed pulley, mechanical advantage is equal to 1 only, whereas velocity ratio also 1 only. It is used to change the direction of effort applied. Whereas single movable pulley, the mechanical advantage is 2, whereas velocity ratio is 2. Children, in order to increase the mechanical advantage, what do? We will combine the number of pulleys. So here we have two types of combinations. In the first type of combination, children, one single fixed pulley, many movable pulleys will be there. So in that combination, how to calculate the mechanical advantage and as well as velocity ratio, let us see. So children, look at here. So this is a case actually where one single fixed pulley and other 3 are movable pulleys are given. Just look at here, and it's very important to even show the directions of tensions and even directions of effort and load also very important. In exam they may ask you, so which one is like movable pulley, which one is fixed pulley, all these things. But mainly now how to calculate in this case a mechanical advantage. Very simple, dear children. So here mechanical advantage is equal to, we have formula, it is 2 power n only, whereas velocity ratio also we have 2 power n only. N is, it is movable pulleys, number of movable pulleys. It's very important. Number of movable pulleys. So in this case, how many number of movable pulleys are there? 1, 2, 3 are there. So here n is equal to 3. So what is the mechanical advantage then? Mechanical advantage is equal to 2 power 3, even velocity ratio also it is 2 power 3 only. Okay children? Refraction of light at a plane surface. The children, mainly here we will be discussing about actually refractive index. Mainly we will be discussing about a refractive index mu. So how can we calculate? Children, here we have mu is equal to c by v, that is speed of light in a vacuum by speed of light in a medium, and even mu is equal to, we have sin I by sin r, it is also called as Snell's law. It is also called as Snell's law. Then mu is equal to, we have real depth by apparent depth, real depth by apparent depth, and mu is equal to, we have 1 by sin c, and how mu is related to the shift also very important, children. That is okay, especially we will write that actually. So this is all about refractive index. Okay, now come to the shift, dear children. So here shift is equal to, we have actually real depth into 1 minus 1 by mu. But dear children, here for a water, what is the mu value? For water, mu is equal to 4 by 3. Whereas for a glass, children, for a glass, what is the mu value? For a glass, mu is equal to 3 by 2. So then let us see how this shift formula is changed for water and how can we modify it for a glass also. When you substitute mu is equal to 4 by 3, how much do you get? Here you get it as a shift is equal to RD. This will be what actually 4 by 3. So this RD by, actually we can calculate refractive index, and this how we can calculate even shift also. So children, it is actually what happens when monochromatic light passes through a prism actually. So this will be the angle of incidence, and this is the angle of emergence, such that this is the angle of the prism. But when you extend this emergent light backward, children, so this will give you angle of deviation. But how these four quantities are related is very, very important. Children, it is written like this: I plus E is equal to A plus delta. But dear children, in minimum deviation position, it's very important. In a minimum deviation position, dear children, so I is always equal to E. Means in that case, in a minimum deviation position, dear children, this refracted light ray must be parallel to the base of the prism. Then how this formula will take form? Look at here. So as it is I is equal to E only, so this can be I plus I we can write. So that will be 2I is equal to A plus delta. But here delta is minimum deviation, angle of minimum deviation. Then here I is equal to A plus delta m by 2. So this formula which we use to calculate the angle of incidence when angle of the prism and a minimum deviation, angle of minimum deviation is given. But here one more thing. So this is R1 and here is R2. How this angle of refractions are related to the angle of the prism also very important. So children, here A is equal to R1 plus R2. In general, it is A is equal to R1 plus R2. But in a minimum deviation position, R1 is equal to R2. Then as R1 is equal to R2, we can write A is equal to R plus R. So that will be A is equal to 2R and R is equal to, we can write as it is a by 2. These are the very important formulas from refraction of light at plane surfaces. Now we will discuss about, it's very, very important, what are the important formulas which we have in a lens chapter. Let us see one. Now we will see refraction of light at the rate actually, that's curved surface, that is the lens. Children, in this chapter the very, very, very most wanted is what? Lens formula. That is 1 by F is equal to, it is 1 by V minus 1 by U. But dear children, if you want to solve this numericals based lens formula, we should have idea about what, dear children? Sign convention. Sign convention. Children, so here always measurements are taken from the optic center and the distance is taken in the direction of incident ray or positive. The distances which are taken opposite to the direction of incident ray are taken as the negative. And the measurements taken above the principal axis are positive and below the principal axis are negative. So, they are the points which we should remember. Then you can do the numericals based on lens formula very easily. You should not forget one more very important thing. For a convex lens, focal length is always positive, whereas for a concave lens, the focal length is always negative. And how focal length is related to the what we can say power of the lens also very important. Children, here we have power is equal to, it is a 1 by focal length. Here focal length is measured in meters. If you will measure focal length in centimeters, then you will get power is equal to this 100 by f. Here f is in centimeters. F is in centimeters. Okay, children, fine. Now next very important thing is that here magnifying power of simple microscope, children. Magnifying scope. So which is equal to, children, 1 plus it is d by f. 1 plus d by f. What is d, children? What is dd, children? It is a least distance of distinct vision. So it is an average, it is a 25 centimeters. So the magnifying power, as d remains constant, children, magnifying power is inversely proportional to the focal length. So they are the important formulas which we have to remember from this lens chapter. See, now we will see from a sound chapter. Only two we have, very important. Two we have. Actually, in this sound chapter, almost we will be talking about actually, children, echo only. So here, general relation which we have, velocity is equal to d by t. It is a general relation between speed, distance and time. But whereas in the case of echo, children, as a sound can travel, the distance twice, because to go and to reach obstacle d distance, again to come back to the point of origin, again it will take a d distance only. So velocity v is equal to, children, we can write v is equal to 2d by t. So this formula which we used to calculate the speed of the sound in the case of especially echo. So this only we can modify, even it is used to calculate the distance between. You can use to calculate even distance between also. Is the first one which we should remember. And next one, dear children, here how loudness is related to the amplitude is very important. So dear children, here loudness is directly proportional to the square of the amplitude. So based on this also we can expect the numerical. So here L1 by L2 is equal to this A1 square by it is A2 square. Or dear children, this formula we also can write as A1 by A2 is equal to square root of it is L1 by L2. So children, here when amplitudes are given, we can calculate loudness, whereas if loudness, the ratio of loudness also given, then we can calculate even amplitudes also. First one which will get I is equal to Q by T, but Q can be written as here even number of charges, number of electrons into charge of each electron by time we can write. Okay. And next one, potential is equal to work done by charge. Next, we will be talking about resistance also, dear children, here. So resistance is equal to rho into L by A. Or, dear children, even we also can write here R is equal to rho into L square by V. When volume remains constant, we use this formula. So from this only we can write rho is equal to R into A by L. Rho is equal to R into A by L. Next, dear children, we will be having conductance. Conductance will represent with the capital G is equal to, it is a reciprocal of resistance. And next we will be having what conductivity. Conductivity will represent with the sigma. It is a reciprocal of resistivity. And dear children, the law which connects VIR only, it is a Ohm's law, that is V is equal to IR. Dear children, if more than two resistors are given or more than one resistor is given, what will happen? So we can combine in two different ways. One is a series combination, the other one is parallel combination. So in a series combination, if two resistors are connected in series, then RS is equal to, we can write R1 plus R2. Dear children, if more than one resistor, like n resistors are given, each with the same resistance. Then how can we calculate the resultant resistance in a series combination? We can calculate here Rs is equal to number of resistors into resistance of each resistor. In a parallel combination, if two resistors are connected in parallel, then 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So children, this also we can write like this. Rp is equal to here R1 R2 by it is R1 plus R2, R1 plus R2. Dear children, if like n number of resistors are given, each with the same resistance, if they are connected in a parallel, then how to calculate the resultant resistance in a what we can say in a parallel combination? So it will be Rp is equal to, in that case, so it will be R by N. It will be R by N. So this is how actually we can calculate the resistance in series combination and even parallel combination. Now dear children, what happens like when current some I current passes through a resistor of resistance R in a time t, so definitely some amount of heat is produced. So how to calculate that heat produced, dear children? So that H is equal to, we have formula I square RT is used to calculate, this we will get in a joules answer. So this H is equal to I square RT we used to calculate the amount of heat produced. So here electrical energy, I am talking about here electrical energy. Electrical energy. So children, here we have W is equal to VQ formula which is used to calculate electrical energy, but as Q is equal to IT, so we also can write it as a, so it is the first formula, second formula, that is VIT. Even from the Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, so that we have W is equal to I square RT, and if you can substitute I is equal to V by R, then we get W is equal to, it is V square by R into T. So children, these are the electrical energy formulas. These formulas we use to calculate electrical energy. Now we will see electrical power. So children, electrical power. What is electric power? Electrical work done by time, or else at what rate electrical energy is consumed by an electric appliance. So as it is the electrical energy by time, dear children, so each formula just you divide with the time, then you will get expression for electrical power. So the first one, P is equal to, we get it is V into I. V into I. First expression. And the second expression, P is equal to, it is I square R. And even third expression, dear children, we have P is equal to V square by R. V square by R. So this is all about electrical energy. This is all about electrical power. But dear children, how can we calculate the, what we can say, electrical energy consumed in like our homes? How can we calculate? So for that, dear children, it's very important, and how to calculate even cost of the electrical energy which is consumed. So for that, dear children, electrical energy, children, it must be in kilowatt hour only. Kilowatt hour only, which is equal to power must be in kilowatt into time. The time should be in hour. If power is not given in kilowatt, what we have to do? We have to divide with 1000, or we can write like this. So power in, that is watt, and time in hour by 1000 you can do it. 1000 you can do it. And even electrical energy can be expressed in terms of, dear children, potential difference, current and time. How? We know that P is equal to VI. You substitute here. So that is V should be in volts. V should be in volts, dear children, whereas current should be in amperes and time should be in hours. Then you will get it is a 1000. So children, here whatever you get is what actually electrical energy. But how to calculate the cost of electrical energy? Dear children, here finally you will get one value, right? That you multiply with the cost of each unit. Cost of each unit. Then we can calculate the cost of electrical energy. The most important thing which we will be talking about, the amount of heat absorbed or amount of heat rejected. So that we can calculate here. Q is equal to MC delta T. So from this only we can get expression for specific heat capacity, that is C is equal to Q by m delta T. Q by m delta T. Children, what are the units? What are the units of specific capacity? In SI system, it is joule per kg Kelvin, whereas CG system, it is calorie per gram degree Celsius. Next, we will be talking about thermal capacity or heat capacity. That is C dash is equal to Q by delta T. So, its SI units are children joule per Kelvin, whereas its CG's units are calorie per degree Celsius. Children, how specific heat capacity and thermal capacity are related is very, very important. That is C dash is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. Dear children, so other than this, which we have is all about latent heat, dear children. So here latent heat is equal to children is a Q by m. So from this only we can get expression Q is equal to mR. Children, here one very important thing is that here we have two expressions for Q. One is Q is equal to mc delta T, another one is Q is equal to ml. Children, this Q is equal to mc delta T, which we should use to calculate the heat when there is a change in temperature, whereas this Q is equal to ml, which we use to calculate when there is no change in temperature, rather there is a change in state. For this, the SI units are joule per kg, whereas CG units are calorie per gram. These are the important formulas from all chapters which we covered. So these are very useful in order to solve the numericals from a different chapters based on different concepts. Thank you so much. All the very best.